but this is a sort of cliff edge collapse. And it happens when you don't explain to the public and prepare the ground for a big financial statement. So people don't understand what's going on. They don't understand the reasoning. They haven't seen the workings behind the mathematics. And that's why people have taken fright.
Anyway, so Charles Walker, Conservative MP, joins me now. Hi, Charles.
Hi.
This is terrible, isn't it?
Yes, it's really very, very bad, isn't it? I mean, there's no way of dressing this up as anything else but being pretty shattering.
Do you think, and I've spoken to lots of your colleagues this week, even before this poll came out, because whatever it was, 17-point lead earlier in the week was pretty bad. Your colleagues, MPs, some ministers, seem pretty gripped by how awful it is. Do you think the Prime Minister gets it?
I hope so. It would be difficult not to get it, wouldn't it? It is such a reverse in our fortunes. I mean, we've been behind in the polls for the best part of, I think, 12 to 18 months, but this is a sort of cliff edge collapse. And it happens when you don't explain to the public and prepare the ground for a big financial statement. So people don't understand what's going on. They don't understand the reasoning. They haven't seen the workings behind the mathematics. And that's why people have taken fright.
Is that right, though, Charles? It's not. People keep saying it's a comms issue, that she's not a very good communicator. Isn't the bottom line that she made a political choice to offer massive tax cuts, unfunded tax cuts, funded with borrowing, by increasing borrowing that future generations will have to repay, including tax cuts for very rich people? There's no way you can spin your way out of that comms-wise. There's a separate point about the market's reaction, who clearly don't believe you should be borrowing all this money. But the public have seen the pound tanking, and the government's priorities seem to be the well-off.
Yeah, no. So I think if you're going to make a big financial statement, you've got to roll the pitch, haven't you? And that wasn't done. I mean, this could be the greatest bit of economic genius ever. I'm not saying it will be. But you've got to explain to people what you're doing and why you're doing it. And just to turn up on a Friday morning to Parliament and make a short statement isn't the way to do these things. We're a sort of fifth or sixth largest economy in the world, and we're paying, as a party, the price for that sort of rather cavalier approach to the public finances. So I don't think you and I are too far apart on this.
But it sounds actually to me like you think that there might be two problems here. It was a bad idea sold badly.
It's not that. It's clearly it's not been sold well, and again, I mean, just saying this is going to re-inject growth into the economy is fine, but how? And you need to have lots of conversations with various people about why that's going to happen, and you need to seriously knuckle down before and after you make these statements, and you need to win the arguments. And just telling people that they're wrong, they don't understand what's going on, and get a grip is not a way to persuade people to your cause. Even to get them to say, okay, I don't like it, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. This has been handled really badly, and we've got to start handling it better.
It seems extraordinary that we're even having this conversation when I read this morning that she's only been Prime Minister for 25 days, and I thought, that can't be right. And I went and checked, and it is 25 days. And yet already people are saying that she can't survive as Prime Minister. Do you agree with that? Is this already a fatal blow to her credibility and her premiership?
Well, I mean, there's a general election in 2 years, at the most in just over 2 years. And I think it's hard to construct an argument now that the Conservatives can win that general election. I suspect the conversation is, how much do we lose it by? And what is our duty to the country? And our duty to the country is to get the public finances in the best shape possible. So if we do lose the general election, we hand over some form of a legacy to the party or government that replaces us. I mean, we're a patriotic party. That's our first duty is to the country. Our first duty is not to get re-elected. Our first duty is to the country.
How many of your colleagues do you think feel the same, that this is now a question of preparing for defeat at the next election?
Well, look, I mean, you'll get loads of ministers on who'll say, no, this is a snapshot in time. And to some extent, they're right. It is a snapshot in time. As your previous guest said from YouGov, if there was a general election tomorrow, there won't be. But look, we've had a number of economic shocks. We had COVID then followed by Putin marauding around Eastern Europe, that has put huge strain on economies. And inevitably, governments change. I mean, it's what happened in 97, it what happened in 2010 after the financial crisis that blew up while Labour was holding office. Look, things happen, it's events, and we don't have a right to be in government forever. I mean, it's only it's a leasehold government, isn't it? And that lease comes to an end, and somebody else takes ownership of the office.
Do you think that it should happen sooner rather than later? Just get on and have a general election. Just finish this. To be that actually 2 years of Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng's, I don't know whatever it is, IEA pamphlet experiment with the economy, it would be too damaging.
So no government that I'm aware of tends to walk out early from office to go down to certain defeat. I mean, the cabinet will be no doubt thinking, right, how can we recover the position? Because being 33 points behind in the polls is not when you go and have a general election. So I think, look, I suspect this Parliament will last for 2 years, and I sincerely hope that the Prime Minister and her cabinet get on top of the big issues and improve people's standard of living, and do a competent job over the next 2 years. If they do that, there is an outside chance we could win the next general election. But I don't think we should be thinking about winning general elections. We should be thinking about our obligation to the country that we serve.
Do you think Liz Truss should lead the Conservatives into the next election? Should there's a difference about whether or not she can, but do you think she should?
Well, that will be a matter for the party to decide. I suspect that if there was a change in leadership again, you would have to have a general election within weeks or months after that change in leadership. Look, many colleagues, understandably, will be worried about losing their seats. I saw a headhunter yesterday. There is not a raging bull market for former MPs, and particularly if they're former MPs in a party that's just lost office. And there will be a lot of very nervous and worried colleagues. And my message to them, if you change the Prime Minister now, there will inevitably be a general election within weeks or at most a few months. And the end of your parliamentary career will happen rather sooner than you want it to.
Charles, you sound quite sad about all this.
I'm very sad. I'm a Conservative. I've been a Conservative all my life. And to see my party creating these unforced errors is very painful. And I think that the lack of humility is what I find most painful. We have really got this wrong at many levels. And I'm not saying the ambition to improve the economy, increase productivity is the wrong ambition. It's an absolutely fantastic ambition, but it's just been executed so utterly poorly with real consequences to people. I mean, costs of borrowing have gone up. Hundreds, if not more than 1,000 mortgages have been withdrawn from the market. People have lost their mortgage offers, and to blame this on international events. Yes, international events are shaping our economy, but they're shaping that over a period of months. This happened over a period of days. We cannot absolve ourselves from responsibility for this. People are right to be really cross and upset.
Charles Walker, really appreciate your time this morning. Conservative MP Charles Walker giving us his reflections on that poll, putting Labour 33 points ahead. Charles Walker there suggesting that it's now just a question of the Conservatives preparing the economy so it's in a better state to hand over to whoever comes next. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary.